So this video is hopefully going to explain how to do systems of equations using your TI-84 calculator. So this is a page in the notes, the Algebra 2 notes. It's actually page 57. You don't necessarily need this page, but this kind of gives a description. Basically, we're going to solve the system up here at the top, the one that says 2x plus 2y minus 3z equals 12. I have three equations and three variables. I'm going to solve for all three variables, and I'm going to have the calculator do all the work. So first thing is, notice how we've set up the equations. I've got them all lined up so that all the x's are lined up, all the y's are lined up, all the z's are lined up, and then the answers are lined up. And so we would say this system has three rows because there's three equations, but then there are four columns because all of the x's represent one column, all of the y's represent a column, all of the z's represent a column, and then all of the answers represent a column. So we would say that this is a matrix. That's what this is called when you have rows and columns. We would say that this is a matrix, and the size of the matrix is 3 by 4. It's always rows by columns. So in order to set up a matrix on your calculator, what you're going to do is you see in blue right above the x to the -1, it says matrix. And so since it's in blue, that means it's a second function. So I'm going to press second and then x to the -1 matrix. And first we have to edit our matrix, meaning first we have to set it up. So you are going to press your right arrow over to where it says edit. And then there's a whole bunch of them that you can choose from. I'll just pick number 1. Since there's a 4 by 5 there, that means there's already one there, but it's no big deal. I just use A over and over again and change it for whatever I'm looking for. So I'm going to press enter here on number 1. So enter. And then the first thing it tells you to do is set up the size. Now again, ignore all of the stuff that's in here. That's one that I did a while back. So we're going to set up the size. This is a 3 by 4 because it's 3 rows and 4 columns. And you do that just by typing in 3. And then as soon as you press enter, the cursor will pop to the next spot you need to fill in. This is a 3 by 4. So I'm going to press 4. And then again, as soon as you press enter, it allows you to jump down into the matrix. Okay, so now I need to put in all the entries. Well, notice on the matrix that's there, there are no x's or y's or z's. There's just numbers. So when you set up a matrix, you simply use the coefficients. So for example, when I look right here at at column number 1, the x's over here in the notes, the first x is a 2, the second x has a 1 as a coefficient, and the third x down here has a 3. So the first column in the matrix that I set up on my calculator is going to be a 2, and then a 1, and then a 3. I don't know why, as you press enter, the cursor moves to the right. Now you can use your arrows to move whatever direction you want to. So what I tend to do is I tend to put in the entire first row and then the entire second row and so on. So when I look at the first row, I have a 2 for the x, a 2 for the y, a -3 for the z, and then a 12 for the constant. So I'm not going to type in the x or y, I'm just going to type in the number. So in that first space, I have a 2, and I know there's already one there, but I'm going to press 2. And then when you press enter, the cursor pops to the next one. So the next one over is a 2. So I would press 2, and then when I press enter, the cursor pops over to the next one. And notice in front of the z, it's a -3, so you have to type in -3. So make sure you use the -3 and not the minus sign. And again, down here it tells you what you just typed, and when you press enter, it's going to put that -3 in the place. And then the last number on the first row here is 12. So for that first number, or for that last number, I'm going to type 12. And then again, when you press enter, and now it's going to jump down to the second row. So now I'm going to put the entire second row in. And so row 2 here is a 1 in front of the x, a -3 in front of the y, +2 in front of the z, and then my answer is a 3. So I'm going to type in 1, -3, so 1, enter, -3, enter, 2, enter, and then the last number is a 3. And then again, when you press enter, it'll enter that 3, and the cursor will jump down to the next row. So now I'm going to put in the numbers for the last row, so 3 and 4, 3, enter, 4, enter. You always have to press enter. And then -4, so -4, enter, and then the last number is 16. And again, don't forget, this is probably the biggest mistake I see. Don't forget, after that last number, you have to press enter so that that last number in the matrix actually turns to a 16. So now I have my matrix set up. All right, and so now what I have to do is I have to tell the calculator to actually solve. And so the way you solve it is you go back to the home screen. So you're going to press second mode, because notice right above mode it says quit. So quit, second mode, takes you back to the home screen. So now I'm still working with a matrix, so I'm going to choose that matrix function. So second, and then x to the negative 1 is matrix, but this time I don't want to edit a matrix. I have it set up. Matrix A is the one I want to use. What I want to do is I want to do some math. So move the cursor to where it says math, and then you're going to move the cursor down all the way to where it says RREF. Notice letter A here says REF. That's not the one we want. We want the one that says RREF. I know you don't care about this, but what that means is reduced row echelon form in math terms. So we want RREF. So I'm going to choose letter B here. So enter. And then basically that means solve the matrix. And now I have to tell it, well, what matrix do I want it to solve? I want it to solve matrix A. So how do I get a matrix? Second, x to the negative 1. And now you see my cursor is right there on number 1. So if I press enter, it's going to pop matrix A in there. And so I can close the parentheses. So that's going to tell it to solve matrix A. And when I press enter, what will happen is it'll give you, this first section is going to always look like this. It's going to be 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1. Because what that means is, remember the first column is x's. So that means 1x, no y's, no z's, equals 4. So that first row tells me x equals 4. And then on the second row, that means no x's, 0 x's, 1 y, no z's. So that means 1 y equals negative 1. And then the last row basically tells me that z equals negative 2. So this is the solution for negative 1, negative 2 is the solution to that system of equations. So the solution to this, to that whole system would be for me to say x equals, I forgot what it was now. X equals 4, y equals negative 1, x equals 4, y equals negative 1, and z equals negative 2. So that's the solution. Okay, hope that video helps to solve a system of equations.